Yes. Okay, so the thing is, I know a lot of people think that he is rude because when he says things in a curt fashion. But I do not believe that he is a rude person at all.
He's not a cold person either.
No, because he's just not as expressive as everybody else is. But I can tell you a lot of people thought he was mean when they first started watching BTS, and it's actually why they didn't really like Suga in the beginning.
And if you give a little backdrop on Suga, Daegu is one of the more poorer provinces of South Korea. He did come from a poor family. He is one of 2 siblings, and you said he was the older brother?
Yeah, he's the younger brother.
He's the younger brother. He is very big about people being in school because he did miss some schooling because he had to work. You know, he had to help provide with his family.
Yeah, because the thing is his parents had jobs that weren't as good, so him and his brother basically did a lot of part-time jobs and missed school a lot. And
a lot of that he did... We would call it do-it-yourself, but he learned how to do a lot of manual things with his hands, and that basically was what, besides music and producing music, he basically wanted to be like an architect and do these grand things like, I forgot what it was that had been mentioned before.
Well, he wanted to do
English art
English architecture because he was very fascinated by the buildings and how things worked in England.
Exactly. So he's an extremely eccentric person. He's very smart. He's very calculated and
analytical.
And the things that he says, he thinks about what he says. He does envelop all of that, and he thinks about it. He is very much an introvert. Obviously very talented. One of the contributors. They all contribute to the band. One of the contributors for lyrics and the music and stuff. So there's a lot that goes into Min Yoongi. There's a lot that goes into him. So Lexi's broke it down, and she's gonna hit high points for you, where it won't be so long. But she will put the link in the bottom when she can figure out.
Well, I'm doing the high points because these are the more consistent or common opinions by fans. Either they say he's rude or he's cold and all that. So rude versus blunt. Now, he just says things without sugarcoating it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you can't sugarcoat everything in every situation.
You can't polish a turd, okay? Because guess what? It's still a turd.
And really, Suga just says it like it is. And I think the team has finally gotten used to that, because I do know that he's hurt some feelings when they first got together, because they weren't used to his
ways.
His point blank ways of just saying it like it is.
But he is very much for working things out and talking things out. And he's also one of those that I would say deals with his own inner things on his own.
He does. But he does go to J-Hype or Jimin for comfort. It's just sometimes he doesn't really talk about it, but he's always there if anybody wants life advice. He's very philosophical and can help them think through their problems. So basically, being blunt is being honest without taking the time to consider the other person's feelings or how this message will be received. Now, this is something that happens along with puberty and maturity. You need to learn that things aren't so easy and simple and sweet. So you just kind of have to be told the way it is.
Yeah, and that I would rather you just tell me the way it is, and
so you can prepare yourself.
Yeah, I don't want things sugar coated. Okay, her dad almost died one time, and I flat out the doctor was trying to tell me what he wanted to tell me, which was in essence he didn't think her dad was going to survive. And I really looked at him and I said, don't sugarcoat it, don't beat about the bush, just tell me what we're talking about. And that's the way I like it, and that's the way that Suga gets it. Is he doing it to be a cold person?
No, because that's actually how he was raised by his father, because his father was not a very comforting person. That's just not how he works. And his mom worked a lot, so the only little bit of comfort he did get was sometimes from his mom. But other than that, he basically didn't have no childhood comfort of the sorts. So he just knows that his dad was blunt. He just said things just popped right out.
And also, they were not actually on board with what he wanted to do in life, which was produce music. They were not on board with that.
Basically, they tore up all his music, and sometimes would even burn his music in front of him. because they were just very against his goals of being a music producer. So.
Because they probably thought that was something that would not be attainable. And I think a lot of parents would think that because you got to work really, really hard, and it takes a really long time.
Yeah, and he actually was cheated out a lot of deals because he would give certain people the music hoping to get his name out there a little bit, and they would rip him off and they would steal the music for themselves, and then he would not get paid for anything.
That's pretty tacky.
And I mean, that was just how it was, and he would have to choose between a cup of ramen from a gas station or a bus ticket home.
Exactly.
And a lot of times he would just take the bus ticket home and starve.
And be hungry.
So, if you ever see him in Run BTS and he doesn't eat much, it's probably because he's not used to eating.
He's very used to it.
He's used to it. So,
yeah. He does not have a big appetite, and I guess he got used to that way.
Yeah, I mean, when you're in poor families and poor provinces, you have to kind of just adapt to it.
Yep, you do what you got to do, and you go on, because guess what? As terrible as it may be, life has to go on, and the world doesn't stop for one single person.
But I am glad he does eat a lot more now. He's very open, because I'm sure in his environment, because I do know that it's Ulsan and also Daegu are pretty crime ridden in some of the poorer parts of it. And I think that was somewhere where he came from. And to be clear, he actually did have a car accident before the debut of BTS and had a severe shoulder injury. Mm-hmm. He didn't really want to tell all of them until afterward.
Right.
Because he was, I think, making a delivery.
He was a delivery.
He was a delivery boy, and he was on his bike on the way to the delivery, and a car hit him.
He was hit by a car.
So,
his body was physically hit.
And apparently there has been talk about some of his newer songs, and it actually involved the fact that his mom had some type of, I think it was heart surgery, and his dad, I think, had liver cancer as well in his life. So he's had it rough.
Yeah, he's had a hard life. So we've all had a hard life.
So basically, he doesn't like to be sugarcoating anything. I mean, because he hasn't really had to have things sugar coated either. I mean, it's just how it is. I have liver cancer. You can't really sugarcoat that.
You can't sugarcoat anything.
I mean, because you know the possibility of that person dying is
exponential. Yeah, it's exponential. It's big.
It's big.
Mean, when you say the C word, cancer.
I mean, because you don't really know the severity of it. You don't know how strong it is. You don't know if it's the type of cancer that spreads all over your body quickly, or if it's one of those that appears here and there. I mean, you really just
metastasizing.
Don't know.
Yeah. So you don't know. So the C word comes up, our heart problems, or anything like that. It's a blow, and sometimes these kids. And this is everywhere. Sometimes kids are forced to grow up a lot quicker than they should. Lexi had to grow up a lot quicker than she should because her dad almost died when she was young. So these kids are forced to grow up and face the cruel realities of sometimes this is what happens in life. But I think that Suga, in my mind, and probably in a lot of other ARMY's minds, I think that he sort of kind of is a Cinderella story. From his upbringing and his background to where he is now. He's very successful, and I'm very happy for people that can rise above the things that have happened in their life, and they can move on, and they can share good messages about it, and they can make contributions to their country, to music, to architecture, or to whatever.
Because he's had it rough. He has social anxiety. He has severe depression.
He's an introvert.
Introvert. So he doesn't want to talk about his problems, and had almost committed the S word several times, and was stopped by some of the other members because I think it was done by either Blade or Pill. From what has been said, but
what's been said and what's been read, yeah.
But that's the thing now is people can't just judge somebody because they're cold. Well, there's probably a reason that they're cold, but don't you think it's because they need time to warm up to somebody? I mean, because I'm kind of that way when I don't know anybody. I'm pretty curt because I don't know you. I don't trust you.
You're guarded, and how do you know you can trust this person? Trust is earned. You can't just frivolously give trust to people you don't know, because obviously those people could take you for granted, take advantage of you. And he's I would say very street smart, because he's been through what he's been through.
But I do know that he was probably very, very closed off when it came to being in the BTS group, because he was in turn tricked to being in an idol group, because they had said it was going to be a hip-hop group where it was going to be like by rapping and all that, but it ended up being an idol group, which is BTS, and he had actually quit one time.
Yeah, because that wasn't what he was looking for.
Not what he looked for.
And he had almost, I think, been tricked into thinking he was going, because he wanted to produce.
He didn't want to be in the spotlight.
He didn't want to be. He wanted to be the back guy. He wanted to produce and direct stuff like that.
But Jimin and Hybe were always, trying to make him feel at home. Because, I'm sure that they're really, in all honesty, all of them were more so outcasts when they went to school. So they didn't have these big, flamboyant personalities. Like, well, Tay did, because he's eccentric. But we won't go there.
Yeah, Tay is Tay.
Tay's Tay. He's an extrovert, hands down.
Extrovert.
Extrovert, yeah. But the thing, though, is a lot of them were introverted. They were pretty shy. They didn't have many friends. So
they've been bullied.
Yeah, because Suga was a victim of bullying. Jimin and Jungkook and Tae were all victims of bullying. I think all of them have been victims of bullying in one way or another.
Have been a victim of being bullied as well, because he was a little chunkier as a child. And heck, he wasn't chunky as a child. Come on.
And I wasn't. I was a stick for the longest time.
And then, she became a wife, and now she's not a wife no more.
But that's the thing, though, is you can't be judging people just because they're one way. You have to give them time. And you can tell over the years, Suga has softened up a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is because he now trusts them with his problems, with communicating with them, because he actually communicates way more than the others are. Like, and then they're like, we switched places. We used to be the opposites. I was talking to you, and you were listening to me.
And I think that would just go a lot more for like the BTS members. I would think that he would probably still stay within his shell. If you were not in his inner circle, I would just think that you would stay guarded, my opinion. But let's explain rude versus blunt, it looks like.
So here's 3 different ways to take it. It's blunt, straightforward, or rude. Now, I've already read the definition of blunt. Straightforward is being honest, but taking a diplomatic approach as to deliver your points in such a way that the other person is less likely to be offended and will likely be more open to a resolution or positive into the discussion. And being rude is saying something with the direct intent of offending the other person. So basically, you say something insulting intentionally to get a rise out of them.
Exactly. You want to be that way. You want to bring them down a notch.
Best thing, though, is I think you can pretty much tell the difference, because you can tell when they're being snide about it, or when they're just sitting there with a blank face and just telling you like it is.
Right.
If you want their honest opinion, that's just how it's going to work.
And if you ask for their honest opinion and they say something you don't like, don't be offended because you asked for it.
Yeah, you ask them a question, they're just going to answer it. All right, so people think he's cold and some people think he's warm. Now, just because he acts a certain way on the outside does not mean that he's not warm. It's just he's very closed off from showing it. In Japanese terms, it would be he's like a tsundere, I think is how you pronounce it. Basically, somebody who cares for this person but doesn't like to show it very often. They kind of make it look like they're being nosy or picky at you, but they actually care about you a lot. Because a lot of times, Hobie likes to make fun of him a lot along with Tay, because if one of the members looks really thirsty or something, he'll give him a bottle of water, but he won't look at him like,
yeah, here you. I don't care about you.
I don't care about you, but I'm giving you a bottle of water because I know you're dehydrated. Yeah, right. Exactly. So you can't really go off things based on visual appearances,
right? Because
that's where people get some of their bad karma from, is from judging people.
Exactly.
Just because of an appearance. So warm-hearted to empathize with others' feelings. He is very, very empathetic. He just doesn't show it often. He actually came out in an interview one time that whenever the 3 McNays cry, he actually has to go into his own bedroom and cry to himself because it breaks his heart.
All right.
But he doesn't do it in front of all of them.
Because that would show weakness, and I'm assuming that he doesn't want that maybe side of him to be so out there.
Well, that was when they were kind of like new to each other as a group. I don't think he completely trusted them then. But now he's pretty open to crying in front of one because he knows they're just going to walk over and hug him. But I'm sure he felt that they would judge him if he was to do that because he saw Jimin or Tae or Cookie crying. But he said he did that a lot. He just didn't really want to tell
And it's
anybody.
not weakness, but men are typically more the type of people who don't want to show that type of an emotion. They keep it to themselves.
So they will defend those who cannot defend themselves. Yes, he will do that. He always defends people when it comes to them being wronged. They know how to put someone else before themselves. He always does that. Even though he doesn't completely show it, or he may seem rude when he does it, he still does it. Because he doesn't want to look...
Right.
He doesn't want to look soft, I guess you would say. They'll stand up for their beliefs. Oh, yeah, he's got his foot down for anything he believes in. He doesn't really care that he's got a different opinion than everybody else.
Right.
I mean, and that's a good thing. I mean, you shouldn't have to care what people think about you and what your opinions are.
It's your opinion. Yeah, you shouldn't change your opinion because someone else may not look at your opinion the same way and they have a totally opposite opinion. We're all different. If we were all the same, can you imagine how boring the world would probably be?
People don't look at it that way. They have to complain about something, though.
Yeah, we got to have a little spice to life sometimes.
They always are good listeners. Well, yeah, the thing is, everyone said if they had a issue, they would go to Jimin for comfort, but they would go to Suga because he was a great listener. But he also would talk them through it if they wanted to. If they didn't, then he would just sit there and listen to their problems. He's very understanding about that. But if they actually wanted a solution, he would talk to them. He would talk to them about it. I mean,
right, and he was one of the older members as well too.
He's the second oldest, so
Right.
he's very respected, and they, I think, value his opinion way more than somebody who hasn't been through things he's been through.
Exactly.
So I think that his life experiences makes him more valuable to have listening to your problems. So maybe he's been through it and can help you with it.
Exactly. Especially you can give some really good information and really good advice when you've been through that type of thing, or somebody who's been through that.
And so they never complain about how hard things are for them. He doesn't, because he's been through worse.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, he has said before, because I think it was a different interview, they had asked him if he would do all this over again by going into BTS and almost not making it, and everybody on the internet hating on them. He said he would never do it again.
Yeah.
He would not redo that.
Because it was hard. I'm sure it was hard.
It was hard. I mean, the thing is even though he had a strong mental state, I don't think he knew how hard it was going to get when a whole world is against you. Not just your family, not just your economy in your country, but everybody internationally.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure. They never complain. They give without expecting anything in return. Yes, he's done that several times. We know so, because he actually visits some of the members without them even knowing
That he's coming.
that
exactly.
he's coming.
He didn't tell him.
And their happiness isn't based on what they have, but who they are. Exactly. He's actually very confident in himself and what he does. He doesn't brag about it. He's not boastful about it. He doesn't sound narcissistic about it. He just says, I just know what I can do.
Right.
And now, if he's uncomfortable with something, he's going to straight out tell you, but he does say that he's very confident in his writing abilities and his composure with music. But the thing is, he's not very dramatic about it. He doesn't make it so known. I do real good on this. No, he just kind of like simply nods, like, okay, that sounds right. I mean, it's just kind of like his thing. He's really well versed in music, and I think that's honestly a gift of his, because he was doing that from a long while back.
Yeah.
And actually, one of his songs on the Wings album was actually called First Love, and it was music. Music was his first love.
And he plays multiple instruments too. I'm thinking.
He plays guitar. I know he plays piano. I think his first love was actually the piano.
Yes.
He loves the piano. He would sit there. He won't even look at the keys at all. He just feels the rhythm of it. He loves it. And I think he does that in order to calm down his insomnia sometimes, because he would be up writing music if he couldn't sleep. But that would also make him calm too.
Yes.
Because he does write acoustic versions for his songs too. So, cold-hearted, they're distant and detached. Which is somebody who doesn't really communicate with you. They kind of act indifferent. Like, you're not like... Excuse my phone, y'all. But they kind of act like you're not really important to them. You're just like another somebody in the world they live in. They act superior or above it all. We ain't gonna go into that one.
That's not Suga.
They're often untrustworthy and unreliable. No, he's honestly the most reliable person in the group. That's what other people have said.
Right.
They'll hurt or humiliate others if it serves them. No, that is not him at all. He hates it when people are wronged. He is the most vocal about cheating and being wronged, even in a simple game.
Yes.
Which is how people should be. Because
Which is why we gripe a lot of times about cheating that goes on in the games, and we say Suga doesn't even like cheaters.
they typically remain single. Well, I mean, he did date somebody before going into BTS, but he said that they didn't go well together that way.
Oh, that's new. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they weren't together for long. It was like a couple of weeks, and they just didn't seem to fit.
Yeah, well, sometimes you know that right off.
And the thing is that he said before, they're too busy to date. I mean, they're all across the world. They're doing photo shoots, doing magazines, doing interviews, they're doing making songs, they're doing performances, they're going to meet and greets, they're going to everything.
Tours,
and now they are ambassadors for certain clothing lines, some jewelry lines.
And then there's military that's going to be coming up as well, because they still have to fulfill their military duty.
So they're too busy to even be thinking about that. And besides, if they were to want to get a woman in their life, the army's going to hunt them down and try and kill them.
Yeah.
But
they're fans.
But anyway, but Suga says he wants somebody that's like him, so somebody who can take the pressure. I'm sure there's somebody out there. I mean, there's some people who are willing to do it for their loved one. They don't like PDA. Now, Suga used to not be comfortable with it, but it's because he didn't trust them.
Right.
He didn't trust the others as well. But
PDA, for those who are like me and they're like, what is PDA? That's public displays of affection.
Just hugging, holding hands, petting somebody.
Yes.
But Jimin got him used to it, and now he actually gives out the attention. He actually back hugs Jimin all the time now.
Yeah.
He's gotten used to it, so.
She had to do that with her friends because she's a hugger. And she said in the beginning she would go to hug a friend and they'd be like,
yeah, he would look disgusting when Jimmy would hug him at first, but he's gotten used to it, because the thing is his dad and mom weren't really affectionate, so he wasn't used to it, and he didn't have any friends in school, really, so I think that was the first time he had actually had somebody other than a family member hugging on him.
Yeah.
And he was probably like, what in the world are you doing to me?
Yeah, what is this that you're doing to me?
They're quick to move on, they rarely apologize, they can be destructive, they can be manipulative, and they don't know what to say during painful events. No, Suga is very articulate with his words, and he knows exactly what to say in such a manner that it makes sense in the moment. You can definitely see the times. You can probably look up a Suga being philosophical on YouTube. You probably find a bunch of videos.
So definitely he's not a cold-hearted person.
No. I mean, because I'm sure everybody has met one cold-hearted person in their life. Now, here's guarded. Yes, he is guarded. But that's because he's an introvert. Introverts tend to overthink things a lot.
Yes.
I did that myself. I know the feeling. So basically, there's more to the guarded personality than it seems. As you can see from the above, being guarded comes with certain struggles, but also powers. If you have a guarded person in your life, cherish them. It's because they are probably the most loyal and authentic person you'll ever meet. You know how it says it's kind of like these riddles that I've seen before growing up, that people, when they have bunches of friends, they have no friends, but people who have this small group of friends have true friends. Because thing is you're so flighty with all these people when you don't really have just a close group of friends. And unlike the one that has maybe like two friends, they're like family of different blood. But somebody who's friends with everybody in the school is not a true friend.
Right. Now, how you spread yourself out amongst all them people and really be close with
and you have to think about it.
All of those people.
And you have to think about it. If they're friends with everybody, somebody's going to dislike somebody else. You would gossip about that person just to make this friend happy, and then do that with another friend. And then you go back to the friend you just gossiped about, and then act like you never did it.
Right. So.
I mean, so it's not really true friendship when you have all these connections, unless you're just with this small little group. Which is like Suga. He keeps them together.
Keep your circle small.
Because he says that he talks to Jimin and J-Hope on a daily basis. So, like I said, he keeps his small little circle together, which is good. I mean, because now you have a security of friendship with them, and they're not just gonna just walk away and act like you never existed in their life. And
he is doing a very modest world tour right now. So
they have there's lack of parental love. Yeah, he did say that his parents are very strict. Trauma or negative past events and experiences. Well, yeah, he's been hit by a car. His parents have had severe medical problems. He's lived in a dirt poor place.
He actually had to have shoulder surgery.
He had to have shoulder surgery and therapy to be able to move his arm again properly. He's basically starved before. They're self-sufficient and independent. He's very independent.
Yes.
But I do know that even though he is a very independent person, I think he does want one of the members to go with him to at least see everything, see his concerts.
I think it's familiarity,
It's familiarity, and it's also security in a way, because they basically practically lived together for 10 years. They were like family. They lived in the same apartment together.
Yes, not by choice.
Not by choice, but they were fine with it.
Yeah.
They value quality over quantity. Absolutely. He will tell you that himself. They have realistic expectations about life with people. Yep. He's very analytical about everybody around him. And you can tell when he's very uncomfortable with the person, because I'm sure he's probably looked them up and down and said, nope.
Yeah.
They have firm personal boundaries and know the value of privacy. Yes. He cannot take too much human stimulation. He has to be secluded sometimes. They read people and understand their motives. Yep, that's really an introverted thing, because you're so guarded with yourself that all you have to do is think.
Yes.
That's the only thing you do on a daily basis. So you look at this person, you analyze them completely just looking at them for a few seconds. You already know that they're a bad person. You're usually almost always right. And they're real. Yep. Sugar's not going to affect anything. Nada. Now, like I said, you will be able to read this when I put this into the description, but it's introversion versus social anxiety. So he does have social anxiety, but he's also an introvert as well, but you can definitely tell he does have a lot of social anxiety compared to being introverted. I'm gonna go past it because I can't read anything like that. Now, uncaring versus caring, like I tell you, these are common people's opinions that they put on, maybe it's Quora, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, anything. They will have an opinion, and these are the more common ones. Don't like to say he's uncaring, but the thing is if you really don't care about a person, you don't actually see when they give you true care, because somebody saying I love you it's not really caring. The actions mean more than the words.
Exactly.
Because, and like I said in the body language video we did on the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial, your body speaks more than what you actually say, because what you actually say is like just 13% of what you really mean. Your body does everything else. Because you can say something and your body will unintentionally tell everybody you're lying. Or tell them that you're aggressive.
And it's very easy to say you love somebody or you care about somebody. It's really hard to show
it,
that emotion.
But that's the best way to do it, is to show it. You don't have to tell somebody. You can show it and they know.
Exactly.
So 10 things a caring person does without realizing it: eager to offer praise, practice patience. Oh yeah, he will praise every single group member. And he's actually the main reason why some of them are not just backup dancers, because Hobie and Jimin were just going to be backup dancers because they didn't know how to sing or rap. Now, he did work with both of them and taught Hobie how to rap. RM helped J-Hope with that as well, and he helped Jimin find his true calling of being a master vocalist. And the thing is I'm actually really surprised that he taught Jimin how to be a vocalist. But he could do it, because Jimin nailed it right when they started. He sounded amazing.
And he knows what to expect, or what is expected for that person.
And he also knows the things they can and can't do, and things they need to work on. He already knew their abilities. And he actually pushed Jin to be more vocal as well, so he would actually give Jin more high-pitched lines that would expand his talent more, so he wasn't just a backup singer.
Right. So, or a vocal, not vocal, he was supposed to be a visual.
He was just a visual, basically.
Right.
But the thing is the group wanted him to be showcased as somebody and not just this pretty figure.
Right.
Because that was originally the intent.
Yes.
So, caring people will respect privacy. He does. If you don't want to talk about it, it's fine.
Yep.
If you want comfort or you want to listen, that's fine. Just whatever you want. They show sincere appreciation. Yeah, I mean, he's pretty on the down low about it, but he does show appreciation and things, because he'll usually try to reciprocate for what somebody's done for him. Care people give back to the less fortunate. Oh yeah, he does. I think really most of them do, because they donate a lot to causes and hospitals and schools around Korea, especially during COVID. They definitely donated a lot of money to people that needed it.
They've donated to Ukraine, to the children of Ukraine, victims of that.
And to the earthquakes in Turkey. They gave to the children that were victims of the earthquakes.
They're big with UNICEF. They raise funds for UNICEF.
And that's one thing that really disturbs me is the fact that whenever they go for interviews, people rarely mention they're really deep into UNICEF.
Yeah.
And they do a lot for UNICEF. It's just, that's kind of a disappointment to me because they only want to talk about, well, your visual this, your money this, and this, and this. No, how about you talk about their charity?
Yeah. Because they do all give to charity.
They're very gracious people, and you don't really mention it that often, which kind of, makes me a little iffy about people who give interviews to them.
Right.
So involvement in civic events, yeah, he definitely. The thing is he is very independent about things. He can go on his own to do things, but the thing is, I think he likes the familiarity of somebody
being with him. Exactly, because I think that's just a support, even mentally supportive for him.
And they are kind to the elderly. If you have seen the video, I will find the video for you. Because a woman was a little emotional because I think one of the things that they did when they first started being in BTS, they were helping her with her house. And I think it might have been from a natural disaster or something. I think that's what it was. But she had teared up and Suga started crying and hugged her in like a tight embrace.
I think Hobie was there too. Was he not in
Jin? Hobie and Jin. Yeah. But Suga immediately went up to that woman and hugged her so tight, and he was crying.
Yeah.
So that's very empathetic, and if somebody is cold-hearted and mean,
uncaring,
they wouldn't do that.
Nope.
They would just kind of stand aside with indifference.
Yeah.
They just look like every other day. Characteristics of selfish, uncaring people, they are good at manipulating. Well, he can manipulate, but it's not for
his own gain.
He's not for his own gain or anything. It's for games that he can do it, but that's the thing, though, is it's complicated when you're an introvert. You can easily articulate things, but we just don't use it.
Right.
I mean, I'm pretty good at lying. I just don't ever really use it.
No.
They always need something from others. He doesn't ever ask anything from anybody. And actually, in all honesty, when Jimin was starving himself, he would actually cook homemade meals for Jimin and would go to him and say, "You better eat this."
Yeah, and nobody knew Suga.
Nobody knew that Suga could cook. They didn't know he was cooking for Jimin at all.
Yeah, Jimin was doing like a really, really huge, unhealthy diet, which was basically starving himself because the body image stuff. So,
yeah, and he made him full meals, home cooked meals, and he was the first one to know that Suga could cook. It's just, I mean, you really have to think about it. Him and his brother raised themselves, so they had to learn to cook.
And a lot of the kids almost had to really actually do that because it took both parents to work.
They tend to neglect others' needs. Nope. He's very observant of everybody in the group. He knows when they need something, if something's wrong. And he will try to talk with them about it. Just because, he's not really emotionally showy all the time, but he does like to talk with people because, I mean, sometimes talking just is better than just getting a hug.
Right.
So they are friendly when they first meet someone. No, he's actually very closed off and rude when he first meets somebody.
Or he's seemingly rude, but he's not really rude. It's just it's protection.
Curt.
Yeah. It's curt. It's professional.
It's just you don't trust this person. So, and really, in all honesty, as an introvert, you kind of look at them and are like, all right, what is your motive for wanting to be with me?
Exactly.
What do you want from me?
Exactly.
Because that's always been me after figuring out that everybody likes to use me a lot. I would always look at this person when they want to try and talk to me. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah. What is it? What is
your intent? What have you heard about me? What do you want to do with me? I mean, a million questions would go flying, so then I start sounding curt, and then they're kind of like, okay, you are a biatch. And some of them kind of look past it. They always attend social gathering based on the opportunity. Nope, because everybody was expecting him to be at the Met Gala. You know what? He didn't go.
Nope.
He's not going without the rest of the group.
Nope.
So that was an opportunity he missed to some people, and some people know that he just doesn't like to go to social gatherings. Clear knowing and clear cognizant, yeah. He is a gifted person. Now, he doesn't have a lot of gifts, but he does have a conscience that knows things just right off the bat. He just knows something. And sometimes you don't have to be told. So, you can look at what claircognizance means and the signs, because there's just clear signs. Basically, your gut instincts are always right. They're spot on. His guts are very spot on about things, especially when he has the right answers. Now, it's only when it's the right answers. If they get a wrong answer, then
Right.
it ain't gonna work like that. You are human. You're a human lie detector. Yeah. You can look at somebody and just go,
They're lying.
this is a lie. You want to strangle them, but you just got to put on a facade like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You have random ideas or solutions. He does that all the time, but I think it's because he contemplates a lot.
Yeah.
Clear cognizance of tend to interrupt. Yeah, because it's a viral video of Jin doing an Eat Jin episode while Suga's next to him, and they're cooking and eating some of their pork belly and all that. And Jin was in the middle of talking, and Suga interrupted him to finish the sentence because he knew exactly what he was going to say. And Jin said, "You need to be quiet while I'm talking." You can tell Suga got shy because of that.
Yes.
Jin was like, "I'm the older one. You need to not interrupt me."
Oh yeah.
You know what the outcome of a situation will be? All the time my friends do that, and I was like, don't come to me and tell me that I was right, because I'm going to tell you I told you so. Without you even having to tell me.
Especially when they ask you beforehand.
Yeah. I mean, do you think this is a good idea? No, because this is going to happen. And then literally a week later, you're right. I'm just like, So don't ask me for any more opinions. That's why I like it when people actually appreciate the advice I give them when they ask for it. I don't want to give you advice because you want to hear what you want to hear. Because it's also kind of a waste of my breath. And you wake up with solutions. Yeah, I mean, for somebody who's pretty much not a real sleeper until the day, I'm sure he thinks a lot. That's really the only way to get me to sleep is if I'm thinking. Because my brain's moving too much. It's just, that's the only way to get me to go to sleep. Unfortunately, because I have insomnia myself. It ain't fun. He's quiet and stern outside, deep and soulful inside. Now, that's just how... See, here's the word for that. What I was meaning earlier. So basically, they do kind of things, but they don't just... They're not open about it. They basically don't tell everybody, brag about, I did this for this person, I did this for that person. And because really, Jimin was the one that told them in the cook episode that he cooked for him. Nobody knew about it. Even though they lived in the same house. They didn't know. And he's not going to brag about it. I mean, why would you brag about something you did for something good for somebody?
Right, he doesn't do things for accolades.
Because that defeats the whole purpose of doing a good thing for someone.
Exactly.
And all their softness inside, they don't really trust their emotions. Funny. I understand, I don't deep low. They believe that showing emotions is a sign of weakness. From earlier. They're also afraid that their emotions will guide them wrongly.
Yeah.
So they prefer to rely on their logical thinking and mental toughness to make those hard decisions. A lot of times he's had to put his heart aside and make tough decisions. I mean, because he felt like he wasn't going to be successful in this group and basically quit one time. But went back to try, even though his brain was like, no, this ain't happening, this ain't going to happen. But I think he grew attached to the other members and was like, I'm gonna give it a shot. So that, and they're successful now. The most successful K-pop group in the world. So, like I said, you can just look up the definition of that, and Google will practically tell you what it means. He's a loner. We already know this. Especially when they first got into a group, he would write songs alone. He would think alone. And really, if you think about it, a lot of his V Lives before they were not welcome on V Live anymore. If somebody walked into his live, he would kind of act awkward, like, "What are you doing here?" I'm talking to people, and then they're like, "Tell me you love me." He's like, It's just he's very closed off, and that's just being a loner. Especially when he didn't really have many friends at school, he was a loner there. You kind of just get used to being a lone wolf. Because you just don't really want to deal with the drama.
Yep.
Was at least how I take it. I didn't want to deal with no drama at school. But my friends already pulled me into drama. Selfless versus selfish. Now, I think you know the difference between those. It's pretty simple. Selfless people do things for others without expectations, while selfish people do things for their own personal gain, regardless of a person's feelings or a person they're hurting in the process.
Right. And for the accolades.
Mm-hmm.
And the pats on the shoulder and the good job. You did so good. It was so kind. I know that was so kind of me.
Yeah, and if you actually look at a video, which I will actually probably put on here as well, of the group explaining how they got J-Hope not to quit. The leader of the group liked to point out the tiny thing he did was actually not the deciding factor for Hobie to come out. But, we ain't gonna go there that right now.
No.
So he's a true philosopher. I know everybody likes to say, well RM is very philosophical. No, he's not.
No.
Because if you really want to look at somebody and say, that person is so philosophical, they just say things in such a way, it's almost like they speak with their emotions completely. It doesn't sound like your English teacher trying to tell you a poem that they just thought off the top of their head for that class that morning, because it sounds sort of kind of robotic. No, he goes with the flow of his feelings. He knows how to articulate it. He can even speak in parables at times, and it makes so much sense on a deep level. Like you understand what he's talking about because you felt exactly that. Yeah, if you actually listen to him, he's actually philosophical, because I know philosophical people when I see them, and he is a person with navy blue as his aura. Indigo blue was his aura, so they're very philosophical, but they tend to be very angry. They tend to be driven. They tend to not like things when they're unfair, but they also are very embedded in their emotions, so they can easily communicate them, which is something that he's really good at. That's really what being a philosophical person is. I mean, because philosophers love being creative, and he creates music all the time. Hello. Mm-hmm. They're strong, rational, and emotional thinkers that are able to take a holistic look, holistic. Good God, I'd never heard that word before. That just tells you how much I was taught in English. Look at life and its problems, and philosophers prefer introspective work where they can be independent and expressive, which can mean that in this autonomous state, they sometimes discount the need to collaborate with others. Now, he's a good team player, but he's also very strong with being on his own. And that's something that's come from him by himself. Now, the thing is everybody can be a philosophical person, but I think it does take a certain amount of experience in order to get to that point. And RM writing paragraph after paragraph after paragraph on Weavers is not very philosophical. It's just he tries to make himself seem that way. So, I say a true poet. They take their imagination and mold it into a flowing story for others to read and enjoy. He does that pretty well with his music. They're very telling. They have a deeper feeling to them, and it's not just hip hop. It's not pop. It's just he conveys a message in his. And the music just makes it sound catchy, but you definitely get the message across. Typically, INFPs are very poetic. He is
an INFP.
He's an INFP. I'm sure he's changed. I can't remember which one it was, but like I said, the MBTIs is a little down further. But they're very poetic, they're very sensitive, and they're really creative, because literally all introverts do is think. So all I do is try to create things with what they have, because they almost can't get it out in any other way, because they don't trust anybody to deal with their problems. They have linguistic intelligence, so he comes up with some things. If you actually look at the MBTI episode that they did for themselves, I think it was pretty new last year. He was so philosophical with the questions, like it would have a direct statement of what it is, but he's like, I could think of this in several different ways he would explain it. And even RM himself said, you need to stop being so philosophical about this whole thing. But I mean, you can't really be correct with your personality if you're not telling the whole entire truth. You can't just have set questions.
Yeah, it's got to be very specific,
because it really just depends on the situation, the person you're dealing with, how you're feeling at the moment. I mean, there's a lot that goes into molding a personality. They tend to be pattern-oriented and rhythmic, protective of their time, internally motivated, they're optimistic, but they're also stubborn, pretty much. They have something to say, pretty much always. They read widely and have done so since childhood. Now, he's not really a heavy reader, but I think when he got into BTS, he started having time to read. So then he did read some books that did help him to heal emotionally and to understand himself a little bit more. They're geniuses at putting their emotions into words. Absolutely. It flows. They possess an insatiable curiosity, constantly asking why and how. Oh, yeah. Because he's like, why? To the producers all the times during the games, why? How? Do you know this? Do you know that?
Exactly.
He's meta questions. And 5 zodiacs who are the born poets and can express their feelings with poetic words. There's only a set few. Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, Gemini, and Libra.
And he is?
He is a Pisces. Do you know anybody else in the group that has any of these? The bully member is a Libra, so that makes sense as to why their songs are usually the more touching ones. But anyway, we're not gonna go into that just yet. Jimin's is for another day. And of course, he was an outcast. 20 truths about being an outcast that people need to understand, because some people who are outcasts, that molds them into being the person they are later on, just because they didn't have a lot of people contact. They didn't have many people to trust. So it does make it hard to trust people in the future. I tell you, when people started using me a lot more, I dropped friends left and right. Because I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't trust nobody. Until they proved themselves to me. Then, and only then, I would trust them. Okay, so he is a Pisces. He's the bold explorer. That actually makes a lot of sense to me, because even though he is very, very down low about things, he is very bold about what he wants, what he knows, and what he wants to know.
Exactly.
He doesn't, like I said, he doesn't sugarcoat nothing.
Right.
But he likes to explore things to see if that fits or suits him. And I know he's definitely written so many different types of songs for other singers that you almost want to think, man, that ain't Suga, is it? Because it's a wide variety of them that he's written, and they all have different meanings, different styles. It's very, I don't even know the words. I mean, because it's just so genius how he can write so many different types of music that you almost wouldn't think is the same person. So Pisces, born on March 9th, is devoted to the pursuit of excellence. That was him. Even though he was ripped off a lot, even though his music was torn and burned in front of him, even though he was poor, starving, even had a physical injury to his body, he still worked his butt off.
He did. He just kept going and persevering. This is what I've got to do.
And that's the thing is, he likes to tell the other a lot of times. I mean, people always have their struggles, but, you know, the great things come with time and patience. And it's just, you just have to endure whatever it is that life throws at you.
Yep.
I mean, because greatness takes time.
It does.
And it's always a big thing I like to keep to myself, because, you know, I'm one of these people that feels like, man, if this thing just keeps going this negative way, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Something will present itself to me when time's right, so I will just think of it that way.
Yes.
They're sensitive, yet outwardly strong and determined. Absolutely. You read earlier, didn't you? Or maybe you just kind of skipped through what I said. They're genuine and truthful, very. And they have a great regard for spirituality and possess a wicked sense of humor. Oh, honey, even though he does use a lot of sarcasm, he is pretty funny.
Well, sarcasm is just like the great language for just some of us. I speak fluent sarcasm. As does she.
I think I've heard it all my life. I pretty much do it, and my friends think I'm insulting them. I'm like, oh, okay, I was being sarcastic.
Yes, exactly.
So, Pisces common traits. Now, pretty much these are all common ones, but good traits: empathetic, intuitive, imaginative, creative, wise, trusting, generous, easygoing, compassionate, kind, spiritual, and adaptable. Now, he is not very trusting, at least at first. But I do know some ex-friends of mine that were Pisces were too trustworthy. And I was like, okay, you gonna have to stop being so trustworthy, because somebody's gonna use you one day. And it's gonna be one of them hurtful events because you think that was a true friend.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to do all that. You want to know that this person is trustworthy. I will say that he is very easygoing, and he's very adaptable. Because he adapted to basically any situation that they'll start at BTS, and really in actuality, when people start throwing plagiarism complaints at them, which wasn't true.
Exactly.
He immediately just saw that dude's name off. He's like, nope, you're not allowed here anymore.
Yep. We don't take no more questions from you.
Bad traits: careless, easily led, irrational, oblivious, scatterbrained, absent-mindedness, temperamental, impractical, escapist, naive. I mean, Some of these are not really him, but I do know that some of these do pop up eventually. I mean, 'cause we're going to have our bad days.
Exactly.
We're going to have good and bad days. This is always how it is. And excuse me, y'all, because my mouse, it seems to be dying. We don't have any batteries for it, so bear with us. So, YOONGI, I did his entire astrological birth chart. Because I'm nosy that way. So, the sun is in Pisces, as we already know. Typically, sun in Pisces traits include being compassionate, artistic, intensely empathetic, and sensitive. They're the obvious creatives of the zodiac. When they channel their emotions into their favorite art form, they feel more centered and enlightened. And that's really a lot of ways that he works through his emotions was through his music. And you can tell. Because they're so thought-provoking, but they're also, the music is so deep, you just feel it in your soul. That's the kind of music I like. Not just ones that sing about sex and guns and violence and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Moon and Virgo. Usually, the Moon part is more of your personality, but your upfront personality is the Sun. But the Moon does tend to be a good driving force of how you personally act with people. You are incredibly composed when it comes to emotional expression and pretty much never act impulsively. He thinks before he goes. Because I'm sure he's done it the other way around and found out that was the wrong way to go. For reacting, you're one to make sure you have the full story, which is an absolute skill when it comes to staying out of drama. Honey, yes. That's a given. Mercury and Pisces. People born with Mercury in Pisces are soulful, intuitive, and compassionate. Mercury is most other signs is about the brain and the connection and the conscious mind. In Pisces, though, it's about the subconscious. Having your Mercury in Pisces amplifies your inner voice and helps you feel things that other people only think. Which is why he's very in tune with his emotions, can easily communicate them. It's because he has the Pisces and Mercury. Venus and Aries makes someone crave passion and activity in their love life. Now, he ain't really going into all that because he's too busy. We ain't gonna read all that. Mars and Cancer. People with this placement are often extremely emotional individuals and become very fired up about everything they feel. He did tell us he used to be that way. He used to be very fired up. He would take charge immediately, but now he's kind of gotten a little laid back, a little more mellow about things, a little more matured. He's more analytical and stands to the side a little bit before making a blunt decision. So yeah, he did straight up say he used to be that way.
And that would be, like I say, immaturity.
The immaturity, the anger, the frustration of being a young teen in this kind of situation. I mean, it's understandable. I mean, you really can't say that you've never been angry before as a teenager because everything was just going wrong. Jupiter and Libra. Jupiter and Libra brings one a natural tendency to find luck when approaching the world from a fair and balanced perspective. Now you understand why he likes fairness.
Exactly.
Because when you think about it, Libra is the water bearer. It's just kind of, you got to think about it. There's the scale. You want it to be even. If it swings one way, you're on OCD everywhere. You don't feel like it's right.
Right.
Saturn and Aquarius, people pick up on your capabilities and will gravitate towards you when they need support. They will go to Suga for advice all the time. Everybody does, because they feel he's so trustworthy to communicate to. If they don't even want to talk about it, then they know he's going to listen and he's gonna feel for them and feel with them. Uranus and Capricorn individuals are often ambitious and have very strong leadership qualities. Now, he has a very strong leadership quality because recently he's been on a world tour. He was involved in every single aspect of his tour and his performance, including the stage setup, how he wanted everything to be laid out, the timing and everything. He was in all of that.
He's hands-on.
He's hands-on. He likes to do things because he trusts himself and his leadership in that involvement. Because sometimes when you trust people to do things, they kind of let you down.
That can happen.
It's happened to me before, and that's why I didn't like being with a group of people during school projects.
Yeah, exactly.
They always let me down. They left it at their house and of the day of, turning it in.
Exactly.
Neptune and Capricorn people are very mysterious. Yeah, he was mysterious when he first showed up. Their ruling planet, they tend to be compassionate and idealistic. See, there's a lot of compassion here. Now, compassion doesn't have to be so upfront. It can be simple and subtle. And it gotta be in your face. Mm-hmm. The majority of people with this planet placement have a sincere interest in philosophies and religion. Manny also works to improve the lives of others. He does do that, especially when it comes to his donations and being a big involver in UNICEF. Pluto and Scorpio natives are sensitive to their environment, are emotionally intense, are intrigued by the mysteries, and seek spiritual regeneration, sweeping away anything that stands in their way of their quest. He does things with quite ease. Now, it took him maturity to get there, but sometimes it just takes time and experience to get there. And we ain't gonna read the Lilith and Pisces, that's more like the sexual aspect. We can go there.
Yes, we're not gonna concern ourselves with that.
No, that's none of our business, but it does shape a little bit of his personality, is why I had to put it in. Alright, so Celtic Druid tree zodiac, he is an Ash, which is the enchanter. So, Ash people are free thinkers, naturally artistic, and crave solitude. There you go. It's pretty simple what I've mentioned so far. So, they're withdrawn, they're moody, they're detached, monetary, demanding, selfish, and overly serious. Okay, so he's withdrawn, he is moody, he is overly serious sometimes, depending on the situation, but the other things is not so much. But like I said, I had to put everything on there because, you know, you may think, well, you're just picking and choosing. No, I'm not.
And she's putting the pluses and the minuses.
And like I said, you don't have to have all of these. You can have some of them. These are just the common ones that have been found in these people with the zodiac. So, good traits, they're nature's artists, free thinkers, imaginative, intuitive, naturally artistic, quick-witted, spontaneous, tough, ambitious, capable, protectors, self-disciplined. Pretty much. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty consistent, I would say. So, Chinese zodiac, he is a yin water rooster. Now, like I said, a lot of times the yin part is actually depending on the year. So, he was born in 1993. So, that what makes him a yin water rooster, especially with the last number being a 3. You would have to look at the calculations of how you figure this out because it took me a while. Good traits, they're brave, kind-hearted, entertaining, hardworking, merciful, and loners. Sounds pretty familiar.
Yep.
Bad traits, they're pushy, elitist, insecure, shrewd, mood swings. Okay. Mood swings, insecure, he used to be insecure. Loners, merciful, hardworking, kind-hearted. I mean, and he's actually pretty entertaining now that he's come out of his shell. So
he actually has a funny side. A little carefree side, as we've seen, and it's really, I think it's really fun to watch that, especially as closed off as he was in the beginning. It's really sort of kind of funny to watch him do something and you're just not expecting. You're like, that is just hilarious to see YOONGI do something like that. So
I mean, like I said, on his little show, I can't pronounce the name of the show. I don't want to pronounce it wrong, but his little TV show that he's doing now, where he interviews certain people. That was actually something that Jim had said was, we switched positions because he's the carefree person who's talking a lot while Jim was just sitting there listening, kind of like, I don't know what to say.
Right.
So he's gotten a lot more carefree, which, like I said, I'm glad and I'm proud of him because I know it took him a while. And
you have to get to that place.
It took him a while to get to that point, but now he's comfortable enough. He's able to be carefree and show himself a little more. So bad traits of the Egyptian zodiac now. It's Osiris, I think.
Osiris, or you could say Osiris too. So it doesn't. It depends on how you want to pronounce it.
Depends on how you want to pronounce it. Like I said, I'm not gonna go there. So bad traits there are vulnerable, misunderstood, judgmental, aggressive, depression-prone, blunt, introspective, arrogant, selfish, greedy, reckless, worn out, sacrificial, indecisive, pessimistic, stubborn, impatient, self-critical, insecure, restless, overshadowed. Sounds pretty overly guarded. Let's see, good traits. They're independent, feisty, intelligent, passionate, strong, forgiving, honest, generous, innovative, level-headed, quick-witted. They're fearless, successful, grounded, motivational, perspective, cheerful, selfless, creative, and they're basically the black sheep. And they're typically very responsible people. So I think you can connect situations with a lot of these terms. Like I said, he's not going to have all of them because nobody does.
No.
but those are the common ones. So Hindu zodiac. Now, of course, this Meena Rashi, which is what it's called, but it's basically Pisces again. Positive traits: intuitive, inspired, dreamy, loving, realistic, sympathetic, peace-loving, creative, and artistic, hospitable. Yeah. Negative traits: delusional, confused, secretive, sensitive, procrastinating, unconfident, closed off, emotional, escapist, self-pitying, codependent, lethargic, unrealistic, submissive. Now, some of those, yes. Most of those, no.
Yep, the bigger part is the no.
Yeah, so. Native American zodiac is the wolf totem. Like I said, I did not know a lot of these zodiacs existed. Until I looked up zodiac and they said, oh, these are other zodiacs if you're interested in them. I'm like, what in the world?
New discovery.
It's crazy how so many zodiacs exist, even though they're from different time frames, from different periods of time of people in different parts of the world.
Yep.
And they were just so right. So anyway. So, Northern Hemisphere, like I said, there's a Southern and a Northern. And wolf people are compassionate, community, and family caretakers. The evasive wolf's love is sentimental, tender, and considerate. On this turn of the medicine wheel, wolf's lesson is to stand in the seat of their own power. So basically, you have to be confident in yourself to really actually get something going. You can't really just rely on everybody else. Next, MBTI. So, for the longest time, he was INFP, but he was first an INTP. He changed to an INFP, and then he changed into ISTP. Which is kind of interesting because the thing is N means intuitive and S means sensitive. So he started to get more sensitive when he got more extroverted a little bit.
Right.
So unhealthy INTPs are know-it-alls, mean, self-hating, critical, highly emotional, explosive, and oblivious. Now, like I said, he did admit to himself he used to behave like that and think that way when he was younger. Understandable. You can't really blame him. Healthy INTPs are thoughtful, kind, altruistic, coolly confident, creative, fun, and hardworking. So we move on to INFP. Unhealthy INFPs are self-centered, oblivious, crybabies, depressed, anxious, lazy, explosive, and egoistic. Now, some of these are pretty similar. They're pretty similar and pretty consistent. Healthy INFPs are kind, self-aware, stable, charitable, creators, open-minded, coolly confident, and passionate. Now, here's the unhealthy ISTPs are risky, unpredictable, mean, know-it-alls, dramatic, fatalistic, and cold. Healthy ISTPs are dedicated, hardworking, energetic, kind, altruistic, creative, quirky, and coolly confident. That is Suga at this point in time because he has matured to the point where he understands himself. So now he's not insecure, he's not moody, he's very hardworking, he's very quirky, and he's confident in his abilities. Not to the point of being an egotistical person.
Right.
But he knows that he can do it. Now we got face analysis. Now, like I said, I didn't really know about any of this existing until I think I was trying to learn how to identify certain people due to their countries. Mm-hmm. And then this link underneath one of them had popped up and it was like facial analysis. It's like, oh, facial analysis for what? Oh, emotions, because apparently that influences your emotions because it's connected to your brain. So confidence, according to persons to length face ratio, determines their confidence levels. People with narrower faces, less than 60%, are cautious, while people with wider faces are more confident. Now, Suga does have a wider face, so he is actually pretty confident in himself. He's not arrogant, but you can tell that he knows what he knows his shiz, and he's not insecure about it. And I'm sure he used to be because his parents were kind of rough on him, but other than that. So he's a round face, basically means it's wider than Jen's narrow face.
Right.
Friendliness. How do you measure friendliness? By measuring the distance between the top of the eye to the eyebrow compared to the height of the eye. Now, Suga's brows are higher set, which means he likes his space and tranquility, versus somebody who has them closer to their eyes that tend to be more people interactive. They're very intuitive when they have them higher up on their head. Honey, there's some people who look mean when the brows is all the way down here, but basically means they're very out there.
It looks like heavy brows or something. Yeah, it does make them look mean or sneaky.
It's basically what it is. But I think only two people who have that in the group is RM and J-Hope. They have like the very low down brows. Everybody else kind of has them higher up. Tolerance is C. So basically it's the wideness of your eyes being set from each other. So Suga's wider set eyes say that he's a patient and tolerant person who isn't going to let another person's mistakes get under his skin. He was very patient, especially when he was teaching three of the members how to perform
and stuff. Yeah,
and he's pretty cool about the mistakes and all that. It's Hobie when you don't really want to make mistakes for him.
Oh, I think Hobie would probably bring out the yardstick.
Oh yeah, you could tell because when they would redo their music video dances or their dance practices, honey, I tell you, he's looking at everybody with the glare, especially if they mess up one thing.
He's judging. He's judging, not in a bad way, but he just wants everything to be synchronized.
He wants it to be good, and he wants, it to come together and not have any mistakes.
Right.
So, sugar face analysis, sense of humor depends on the filtrum and the length of it, especially of how long it is. Suga's is longer compared to RM's, so that means that he tends to be very, very quirky. They tend to have a sense of humor versus somebody who just has a shorter filtrum, which don't have any sense of humor at all. They tend to be very serious. Unlike the website that I went to, because they're trying to make things up so people don't feel quite as bad.
We got to get over the hurting of the feelings, okay? Because if there's actually some science to this stuff, then people can't be offended because it's on your face, okay? So don't be offended. It's part of who you are. Embrace it.
Well, they got offended because the thing is, it made it look like RM had no sense of humor. Well, he really doesn't.
Who doesn't have a sense of humor? I mean, you can tell when other people can joke around or make jokes out of some little things. You can tell that a person has a sense of humor when someone tries really hard to be funny because they're not, and those are the ones who try. They know they're not funny.
Mm-hmm. And you can tell when they're trying way too hard. You kind of roll your eyes at it.
Yes.
So generosity, it depends on the shape of the lips. Now, a lot of people like to say it's because one layer of your lip is thinner than the other. No, it's the shape of the lips. Don't get it twisted. So let's see. So you have full upper lips. No, he has small lips, but that's the thing though, is that they're kind of shaped a certain way, but they're small. A small lip can look delicate and dainty. They can be narrow, full, but they usually have a subtle shape, which it's very subtle. It's not
right.
It's not overly accentuated, so they're not as noticeable as bigger lips. Now, personality traits, aside from being sensual and alluring, small-lipped people tend to be introverted and neurotic. They are also more likely to be perfectionists and have a higher sense of self-worth. He does. These people are also likely to be quieter and less expressive. Their outgoing sides may not always shine through. Small-lipped people are often good listeners, and they enjoy taking care of others, sensitive and compassionate people, and they're also intuitive and can read people very well. Often, they have strong convictions and like things done their way. It sounds like everything that I just read so far.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a true army, then I think you've seen almost every video of their existence, and I think you would see that. Worldview, now like I said, I don't really completely agree with this one because they like to say, well, even if you have a tiny little crease, you're still monolithic. No, if you have a crease at all, you're not monolithic, which basically means the thing is this, you see this creasing up here on top of my lid, I'm double-lidded. If I wouldn't have this crease in my eye, then I would be monolid.
Well, you've got a picture, it looks like of Jim and Intricacies up there.
Yeah, because Jim is really the only one in the group that has a monolid.
Okay.
Everybody else has actually a indentation somewhere.
Right.
And that's without makeup. I would actually look at all of them, make sure. And none of them have a really, in actuality, Tay does have one monolid, but it's weird. I'll get to that whenever I get to Tay's. So it says that people with no eyelid folds are decisive and action-driven, as someone with thicker eyelid folds are analytical. Now, yes, he's very analytical. So. And
it says he's driven by logic.
Mm-hmm. Which is something that he does, because he's not very emotional thinking. Okay. So, here's all that. Like I said, if anybody wants to say, well, his eyes is shaped this way. Well, I drew a line across to make sure that his eyes weren't slanted up or down. So the thing is I put over here what he does have. I did put the definitions of all of the possible outcomes over here. So I can't tell what that is. Like I said, I will put the link in the description below, but such people often view them as mysterious. I guess somebody with his eye color. He does have dark brown eyes, and people like to say it's black. Oh, there's no such thing as black eyes. They just have very, very dark brown eyes. They tend to be very private and very trustworthy. He has almond-shaped eyes. People are often very cautious, and like I say, he has small eyes. He has deep-set eyes, which causes the folds in there. I don't know. I looked it up. That's how it works. Like I said, you can read all that because it's tiny writing, and I really don't want to read all that. So, Suga Nose Analysis. Yes, I did a front view and a side view. You're welcome. He has a bulbous nose, or at least having a bulbous tip to your nose is a lucky omen, and shows that if not early in life, at least later, through hard work and good connections, you will find yourself in a reasonably good position in your society at large. He worked through it. Now he's very successful. Unfortunately, the bulbous nose can tell us that you overdo the essential side of your life and might even overemphasize the acquisition of money and material possessions to the detriment of your most personal and family relationships. No, not really. He did help his brother through college.
And I'm sure he's made sure.
And he's made sure his family's health was okay, and
taken care of, yeah.
I think he moved them out of their place as well into a safer spot in Daegu. So you have a fleshy nose. Now he does have partly a fleshy nose as well, just depending on the shape. You are a fast thinker, clever, street smart, sensible, and cautious kind of individual. You are also generous, kind, sensitive, and emotional, but one only experiences these sides of you if they know you quite personally.
Exactly.
And I'm pretty sure you can read the rest, and the basis is the same thing. Now, for those of you who are like, well, what about the shape of their eyebrows? Go to when they haven't had them touched.
That was when they were children.
When they were children, their school photos before they were in BTS. See, there you can kind of tell what the eye shape is, and because you know their eyebrows is shaped when they get into BTS and any other K-pop group.
Yeah, because certain eyes, the brows, they like for them to look a certain way.
It's desired a certain way.
Right, and that's just culturally.
It's cultural. I mean, because really, almost every country has their own idea of what eyebrows should look like.
Exactly.
So he has a round face. Typically, people with a round face means you're a people person who is very giving and kind and always put people first. Now, he does it on the down low, but he does do that. The downside of this is that you tend to put people first too much, and then you don't get what you need from the relationship. Now, sometimes it can happen, but I think he is to the point where he can analyze people to know who's trustworthy and who's not, and who to waste his time on. So he has willow leaf-shaped eyes, or rounded brows. Rounded brows have a distinctive, soft, curved arch, the absence of harsh, rigid lines, because Hody actually does have a harsh line in his. People look more approachable and friendly. Now, this is over bunches and bunches of statistics and data and tests being run. They're selfless peacemakers who always put others' needs before their own. They're people with basically soft hearts, kind people. So, pretty solid from everything that's been sorted above. I'm sure you can read all these. I'm sure you've seen videos of these. But the thing is he is very emotional, but you can tell when he says those things about how he feels. You don't really get a reaction, because it's just how it is. See, in here, he really doesn't think that the others and him deserve all this praise they get, and he does feel like he's in the background. See, he's like I'm more like a side character than the main. Because he doesn't think he's that fitting for the group. Or at least he used to feel that way. And of course, he said before, don't come any closer, you will be unhappy. It's one of his quotes that he used to say all the time to people when he didn't really know them. Right. And it was showcasing the Love Yourself poster for their album, and he did say that before. So, not a very confident person, didn't really know what to do with himself a lot. And like I said, he's gotten a lot better. K-pop fans' opinions. When members were asked which member changes completely when on stage, all of them chose Suga. Now, yeah, he is in his comfort zone there, but you can tell when he gets off stage, just like, nope.
Yep, exactly.
And people saying this, another rich Chinese kid, really infuriates me. Just really
number
racist.
one, he's not Chinese. Number two, he wasn't born rich.
No. He worked to what he got.
Right, he's worked and earned what he's got, and he does, like the other guys do, lots of charity work. They do a lot for their country. They do a lot for the hospitals there. They, I'm sure, have maybe even their own favorite charities that they maybe apply more to. That's the thing, is you can't just judge something. You can't judge a book by its cover, is the best way to say it.
So here's Army's opinion. Some of them make fun of his rapping, some make fun of his looks, some of them just make fun of his personality, and some people say he's even rude and mean, which is not really true at all. And they said that his rapping sounds like he's like a crow screeching or something.
I'll tell you one thing. I am not a person who likes rap. Now, me growing up, I'm used to the 80s rap, which people will say nowadays, that's not rapping. But probably one of the fastest rappers I know, at least Korean-wise, maybe even world-wise, and that's also compared to the rappers here in America, are the West. This guy raps so stinking fast. I have never heard somebody rap that fast.
And he's really good at it. And
he really is.
And he can bend to depending the song. Like, it can sound softer. He can make it very slow. He is very, very quick with it,
And
too.
I don't like rap. I'm not a rap fan. I do like BTS.
I never been a rap fan until I listened to their rap, and I thought it was good because I like the message in it. If it has a good message, then I'm fine with it. But a lot of the rappers nowadays, and we're not gonna go there. But here's other Army's opinion. Suga doesn't think he's handsome. Well, no, because he was told all his life he was ugly. J-Hope says Suga was the most awkward in Love Yourself highlight reel. Yeah, I mean, because he's having to show more of his vulnerability in that one.
Lots and lots of Army opinions that Lexi put on there, as well as I think the other one was fan opinions as well, was it not? The slide before that one.
Yeah, these are all Army's opinions because it's up here, Army's opinions.
Yeah.
Because these are things they post online, and like I said, it's just some things I just feel like they are sort of. I don't even know how to describe these people. Some of these people disgust me. Like, even this one, this is like a Dodgers person. He's Asian, as you can tell, and Suga took a picture with him because I think he was a fan of his. And this person put on there, he has a son, because they were both Asian. They were being racist about that.
I think some people do make tacky, low comments, and it's sad to think that people are that way. And that's not just about BTS. There are people like that to anyone who is
in the spotlight.
You've got people who are just downright mean, cruel, make distasteful comments, make tacky comments. It's, unfortunately, that is something our society and obviously other countries do as well. People don't think a whole lot, and it's sad that we can't think about a person beyond what we see.
Yeah, everybody's more shallow and visualize things. They don't like to look deeper into people.
And I mean, I'm not saying I've not ever been there, because I was young once too. And as you grow and age and mature, then you start really thinking about, it's not just superficial. You have to really look at someone and how they are on the inside, because this changes. Okay, this changes, looks change, but if someone's heart is good and pure, then they're always going to be that way unless somebody breaks that person. So it would be good just to try to get to know a person instead of looking at them superficially, because that's not going to stay. So, but this was Intricacies of Suga. August D. Min YOONGI. And as I said in one of the previous videos, he is actually the one that I can identify with the most. So I guess you could say he's my favorite. But believe me, I can point out anything that I don't agree with as far as a behavior or a treatment of others or something like that. He has had his moments, but he has matured a lot. And I think he's opened up to the other band members. And he's I think this summer he's going to go ahead and start fulfilling his duty to his country and go into the military. Don't forget the thumbs up and the little bell lets you know when we release our videos. So until our next video, guys, peace.